Welcome back to Third Man In. I'm Zack Phillips, and in tonight's post-game stream, we're going to be breaking down game number 38 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, defeating the San Jose Sharks here tonight, 7-1. Coming off another win against San Jose on Saturday night, 4-1, off of what was a 3-0 Western road trip there. So an incredible last week or so for the Toronto Maple Leafs, including a William Nylander signing. I'm sure we'll get to all of that here tonight during the show. So if you do have questions, if you do enjoy the stream, if you do want to call in, if you want to give your thoughts, please make sure to send messages over to @ZackPhill, ZackPhill over on Twitter, as well as if you have me on Discord, you can send me messages there. If you got me on Instagram, send messages there. I'll try to get a link to you guys so that you can call into the stream here tonight. Give your thoughts on tonight's game. Give your thoughts on the Nylander signing. Martin Jones continuing to be a stud and looking like he's taken over this number one. I don't know what just happened there. Number one job here for this Leafs team. Let's see if I can fix that. There we go. I think we're good. Yeah, there we go. What would it be? What would a third man stream be without a little animosity to start it off when it comes to technical issues, especially for someone who deals with technology all day, every day for my own job outside of doing this? Why would I not have my own technical issues when it came to doing this? Leafs win this one, 7-1. That takes them to 21-10-7 on the season here. Look, I think that there was going to be a lot of talk going into tonight after the Nylander contract. Kind of sitting here looking at the fact that is he going to now kind of fall off from the level of play that he's been playing at so far this season? Is he going to revert back to 87-point William Nylander, 80-point William Nylander that we've seen him be over the last couple of years? And it's not like a bad William Nylander. It's just a lesser point production, a less dominant player there. That doesn't happen. I mean, Nylander comes out tonight, obviously against the San Jose team that's not that great, but Nylander has three assists on the night here. Unfortunately, only one shot on goal for those of you who bet over shots on goal for him there, but 3 assists on the night. Just continuing to show that this is more than just a guy who can score goals and score them at a high rapid pace. Like, you see him on pace for 47 goals this season heading into tonight's game, on pace for 120 points heading into tonight's game, and then he goes, yeah, I signed $11.5 million. Nothing really bothers me. He talks about it on Overdrive, the fact that he basically said to his agent, don't talk to me until this deal is pretty much done. Don't talk to me until you need me. And it felt like the entire time that he played throughout the summer, or went throughout the summer and then started to play this beginning of the season, he just felt calm, cool, and collected. Nothing was going to bother him. Nothing was going to get to him. And that's the way he conducted himself throughout the beginning of this year. Gets the contract, and that's the way he conducted himself here tonight. Now, obviously, you do have to take everything with these games with a grain of salt. You are playing the San Jose Sharks. You did play San Jose on Saturday. You did play the Anaheim Ducks. But I still think no matter what, you can kind of come away from it and be like, you know what? I think that they played really well. I saw a guy that I know follow on Twitter, Evan Render. He was tweeting out, like, you see this Leafs team go in here tonight, and Alex Hobson tweeting about it as well. You see this Leafs team go in here tonight, and they play against the San Jose team, who is really stunk. The Leafs have been really good actually against them over the last little while, and it feels like this is your prototypical Maple Leafs letdown spot. This is the game that they go into and they just don't perform. They go into this game here tonight and they lay a stinker, especially at home, especially after a Nylander contract, especially on the 4th straight game that Martin Jones is going to play for you, and they don't. They come out against LA, play an incredible game there. Go in against Anaheim, play a near-perfect game against the Ducks, and ultimately end up getting away with a win there, despite allowing 1 goal and facing an incredible goaltender, or a goaltender who played an incredible game down at the other end. And then you go into the San Jose game on Saturday. That, to me, was the ideal, like, we're going to lose this game spot. It's a very, very, very crappy team over there in San Jose. I'm not going to put it lightly. They stink. This is a team I watched on TV beat the Oilers, and it was like, oh, haha, that's funny. They're bad. No. They are really, really bad. That team stinks. San Jose stinks. So That game on Saturday was like, this is the ultimate Leafs lose this game spot. You go into tonight's game, and it's like, okay, well, you didn't lose the last one. You're bound to lose one of the two. That's kind of the mentality that we've always had when it's come to this Leafs team and these bottom-tier teams. The way that they play against these bottom-tier teams, they got through it. And they played pretty well against them. I'm pretty happy with the results that have come out. And not only that, but I'm happy with the way that they played. I don't think that these were sloppy games. I don't think that these were, you got through by the just sheer skill and out-talenting the other team. Like, this was pretty much you played a proper game. You limited opportunities the other way. You played pretty solid defensively. Martin Jones was really, really good in net. Like, there was a lot of good stuff that went into these wins, outside of the fact that you just beat them. Now, with that being said, Andrew does bring up a good point there and says, don't let recent games lull you into a false sense of security. We have a tough schedule moving forward. So I didn't want to come on here and just be the guy who's going to jump into that right away. And I want to celebrate tonight's win. I want to celebrate the last 4 consecutive wins that this Leafs team has had. But this is also true. The game against LA was very, very, very good. That is a very good LA team, and they played very well, very strongly against them. But you have to remember now that you did just play the Anaheim Ducks and the San Jose Sharks twice. And remember what I did say about San Jose and the fact that they absolutely stink. Like, that is a pretty garbage hockey team over there. I mean, no offense, respect. I don't know. They're pretty brutal. So there's no real way to get around that one. That team stinks. Then against Anaheim, pretty bad team as well. This is where we're going to find out kind of what this team really is, because traditionally you expect them to go down to the bottom level, play at the bottom level, have to grind out some type of ugly win. They don't in most of those games. Like the Anaheim game, I don't even think that that's grinding out an ugly win. That was like, you played the right way. You just played against a stellar goaltender that night. And then the last 2 games against San Jose was just pretty well executed performances from this Leafs team. So now you're going to go up, you're going to play against the Islanders on Long Island on Thursday. You're going to play against Colorado at home on Saturday. What do you have in those games? Because you're going to have a little bit of a tough stretch coming here. You're on your 3rd and 4th string goaltenders. You are playing Simone Benoit on a regular basis in the lineup, and I think he's been really, really good. But I also think that you're kind of not still at where you want to be defensively. Maybe it's not Benoit comes out, maybe it's Giordano comes out more regularly, whatever it is, but I still don't think this is your final piece. But you can start to get an idea here as you approach this trade deadline and say to yourself, okay, who are we? What are we going to be? And what is the identity? I've constantly asked here and constantly been hesitant to accept that this team could be different until they started to show things that were different. Previously, I don't think that this team had shown anything to indicate that they were a different team, a team that acted differently, a team that thought differently, played differently, whatever it was, responded differently. The last little while has kind of started to lead us to a direction where you might be able to start to think to yourself, or might be able to start to feel like, yeah, this team could actually act, think, feel, play, respond, whatever it is, that way, the right way. I think that's trending in the right direction. But now you're going to have to see it in these games against top-end teams. You just are. We do have a super chat here. MNH Crush, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it as always. MNH there saying, as always, love the stream. Thank you. Realistically, though, how hard is this game to actually get any feeling for? Fun, yes, but tough to get a good read on the team. Well, thank you for the super chat, first and foremost. Here's what I'll say. Also, on top of this, started the stream late tonight because I was at the Leafs game. Apologies for starting it late, but I've constantly said how cool this community is that's being built here, how cool it is that you guys have come over from the old channel that we had and brought it over to this new channel here, continued to bring followers, the support, all that kind of stuff, and how unreal the whole experience has been just even building back this channel. Well, tonight got to experience something even very cool within this community as well. I did go to the Leafs game tonight with the man himself, RJWI. You guys have heard him call into the stream. It was an awesome time. I appreciate Rob for taking me out to the game. Pretty cool experience to get to watch the game from where we did, to get to watch this Leafs team put on the performance that they did tonight and be in the building. So that was really cool. But I will say this, when you're going to talk about here MNH, how hard is it to actually get any feeling for? One thing Rob and I had kind of talked about during the game was, yeah, it's hard to get a feeling for, but again, this felt like this was, hey, playing the right way. This was a building off of what happened on Saturday night against the Sharks team, where you kind of came away from that one being like, you know what, this was the right performance. This was the right performance. This was the right way to handle things, etc. You walked away being like, this was a good game. It felt like they didn't really let any old bad habits play into tonight's game, because I think you would have seen San Jose play it a little bit closer, or the final result be a little bit closer if that was the case. It never really got there. It never really felt like there was any type of concern or anything that crept into this team or crept into the fans or anything like that. This was really a strong performance from this Leafs team from start to finish. I mean, you come out, it took a little while to get the first goal, but then once you get that, you start to roll. You get into the second, you score 2 goals immediately in the first 2 minutes there. And then from that point on, no, you didn't score another goal for the remainder of the second period. But what you did do is not allow San Jose to have many opportunities. They did have 1 goal there, but not many opportunities for San Jose the rest of the way. You pretty much continued to hold them outside, eliminate prime opportunities. It was a much tighter performance from this team the entire rest of the way. And then in the third period, you obviously see them light it up for a bunch of goals there. And it's like, you know what? I think that this was a good game, no matter the fact that you played, regardless of the fact, that you played a team that is bottom tier. So yeah, you can't really take away from this too much. You do have to take this with a grain of salt. But that being said, I do stand by the fact that I think this was a pretty good game from start to finish. You got to see some highlight stuff. You didn't see way too much rinky-dinky things going on. There were some, for sure. I don't want to have to pick on those here tonight, especially with things being in a more positive light. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you can't really sit here and say this game tonight or even necessarily like the last 3, but I think it's more, it never really felt like we let old or bad habits creep in. At least over this stretch. So nice to see that. Let's move on to the more important games against some of the better teams in the league and see how they fare there. If you guys are watching the stream right now, please hit that like button. If you haven't already, half the people watching haven't liked the stream, haven't subscribed to the stream, haven't turned on notifications. There's no reason not to. All 3 of those. If at minimum you don't want to do any, hit 1. Hit 1. 1 of the 3. Just do that for me. Half the people watching have not liked the stream. Please like the stream, help support, continue to grow. We hit 1,000 subscribers last week. I do appreciate all the support there, but let's continue to get that up. Let's get to 1,500. Let's get to 2,000 now. Why not? Thank you guys so much for the support. I do appreciate that, especially as it continues here. All right, if people do want to call into the show as well, please make sure to send me a message over on Discord. I'll be happy to take calls. We're not going to go too late here. Probably about like another half an hour or so. I'll continue to read what you guys are saying in the chat. If you guys have questions in the chat, please fire them away. I'll try to answer them there. And then as always, we'll get to our final things that will to close out the show every single time. And that'll be our plays of the game and grades of the game. So send them in, send your stuff in the chat. If you do want to call, send me a message and I will find a way to get people to call in here tonight and give their thoughts on the game and where things are at. All right. One other thing that I want to talk about from tonight's game. I think Simon Benoit is probably making himself a strong case at this point to be a consistent player in this roster and a player that the Leafs can actually rely on moving forward every single night. His level of play that he's been at over the last little while has been very reliable. You've seen that he's pushed Legason out of this lineup, and that's not even necessarily to the fault of Legason. It's more so with how well that Benoit has played, and I think it's just a lot of little things that go into that. It's the fact that he seems to be fairly mobile, not fast necessarily, but able to get from point A to point B rather effectively. He identifies the defensive zone pretty well. He is very defensive-minded. You see situations, even in the third period at one point in time, puck goes up the boards past him, it kind of banks, goes out towards the neutral zone. He has an opportunity to go out after the puck and make a play on it. Instead, takes a look up, sees there's forwards in the neutral zone, and kind of has the presence of mind to say, I'm not going to jump out there and risk a play on this puck. I'm going to allow the forward to have an opportunity. I'm going to trust that he can win this battle, and if he doesn't, then I'm back here in support. Pontus Holmberg ultimately ends up winning the battle, makes a play back to Simon Benoit, who's in perfect position to receive the pass, has his head up, is able to look up ice, survey everything that's going on, and make a move to continue to turn the puck around and transition. Like, these are some small little things that kind of go into the game. You constantly see him with his head on a swivel. He's aware of where everyone is at every single time. He's not doing anything fancy, and I think one of the things that I've been most impressed with him about, it's kind of one of the things that I've been impressed with McCabe about since he's come back from his injury, is that these guys are not coming into these games and saying, oh, I'm going to be something I'm not. They say, I'm Jake McCabe, I play this way, and if you're not going to like it, then so be it, but this is how I play, and Jake McCabe has been a really effective player. Simon Benoit here tonight, and especially over the last little while. I don't score goals. I don't play offense, but I can make a good first pass, or a decent first pass at least. I can move the puck up the ice. I can be in the offensive zone. Probably not going to contribute, but I can be in the offensive zone. And then on top of that, you know what he does? He hits guys. Him and McCabe hit guys. There was an incredible hit here tonight by Simon Benoit that he laid in kind of the neutral zone on Luke Kunin. It was like 10 feet in front of me there, so that was pretty cool. But steps up on the guy, makes a beautiful hit. Like, he's a very physical player. He has strong presence of mind of when and how to use his body to separate the man from the puck, how to use that physicality to put some intimidation on the other team as well. On top of that, he's not afraid to participate in scrums. He's not afraid to jump in there and go after guys, protect guys. I think everything that he's bringing is kind of just building into the identity of this team, and it goes back to the point that I have continued to make. Jason made too when he was on the call here tonight, or on the game a couple days ago, or I guess a week ago, was the one thing that we felt that Brad Treliving, and I strongly believe this, he did in the offseason, is that he didn't build the prettiest regular season team. But you know who did build pretty regular season teams? Kyle Dubas. And this team is not likely going to be as flashy. They're not likely going to put up as many points as these previous regimes had built from the offseason. But it feels like from day one, they were a little bit more playoff prepared. You see Nyes jump in. Obviously has nothing to do with tree living, but he is 100% a playoff performer. Look at what he did last year in the playoffs. The other thing is, watch that guy skate around the ice. He is a massive body. He looks physically like Matthews' build does out there. They skate the same. The forecheck and puck possession is incredible down there. The way that those guys, I anticipate them to be able to play and dominate and possess the puck in the offensive zone when it comes playoff time, when it comes to big boy hockey, when it comes to you can't fucking push me off the puck hockey. I think those two guys are going to be miles ahead of where they were last season and the year before that, because I think adding those two together going into a playoff series is going to make it much harder than it's ever been for teams to match up against Matthews and Marner, because now you have to worry about Nyes, and not necessarily that he's such a threat, but more so how impactful he is, how much of a difference maker he is in the offensive zone. And it's not just Matthews anymore. It's Matthews and it's Nyes. Now, the other pieces added. Tyler Bertuzzi, Max Domi. These guys have probably not been analytical darlings. They have not even been statistical darlings when it's come to how this season has started. I know that there was a lot of scrutiny from someone out there, potentially named or rhyming with the name Sonas Jiegel, who was talking about the fact that these were brutal signings and you need to upgrade on them, blah, blah, blah. I think that there are deficiencies to their games, 100%. I think that there are pieces of their game that you look at and say, yeah, I'd like to improve on. But guess what? You're not here having them here to be perfect. In fact, you're not even necessarily having them here to perform in the regular season. You're having them here to be impactful players who make a difference every single time that they step on the ice when it gets into the playoffs, creating havoc, putting pressure on guys in the forecheck, scrums in front of the net. Not only scrums in front of the net, but actually just getting in front of the net and winning net front battles. Being able to score gritty, greasy playoff goals. Look at what Bertuzzi did last year with Boston. This feels like those guys are built more for the playoffs. I don't think that this team is done adding. I don't think that they're done making changes. I'm intrigued to see what Tree Living has up his sleeve moving forward, what other things and what other pieces he'd like to add. But I think that part of it that you're starting to see even some of these guys take over more and have more confidence, and maybe Sheldon Keefe got a slap in the back of the head, not even across the wrist, the back of the head, and said, wake the fuck up. These guys are here for a reason. They play a certain way. You're going to play them the way that they're meant to be played. And now you're seeing them start to flourish a little bit. I don't think that Domi is necessarily in the good graces of Keefe. I think that might start to change, and I think once the playoffs roll around, that will change drastically. But even with this, in terms of the identity of this team, it feels like they're in a much better position than where they've been at in seasons past from an overall perspective. Again, the final piece for me is do the top four buy-in. From a level of play and level of intensity and raising your level of play standpoint for Nylander, he's done it every single season, in my opinion, when they've got to the playoffs. I think that's partially what he was paid for. Now, can Matthews be 60, 70 goal Matthews in the playoffs? Okay, even if he can't be 60, 70 goal, can he be 50 goal Matthews? And I'm not saying he's got to score that many goals in the playoffs, but I'm saying play at that caliber. Play at that level of domination, that level of intensity every single night where you are a threat every single time that you step on the ice. Can John Tavares be an impact maker? Can he be a guy who goes out there on the power play and is able to create points, create goals for other players on the ice, create opportunities for other guys? Can he be that guy? Can he be someone who can open things up? And then finally, Mitch, can you actually finally turn into a guy who shows up in the playoffs? Can you be a guy who can have that next gear where it's that level of intensity to kind of step up and say, you know what? I'm not afraid. I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to lose battles. Denver, Charlotte, Zach, I have to head off to bed as I got work in the morning. Thanks for tuning in here, Denver. Could you answer this for me? When Nylander said he wants to win the cup and believes there's good enough to do so, do you think they could? Win the cup? I mean, guys, I don't know. Again, I think that this team is probably much better positioned in terms of how they're built. The biggest concern that I've had with this team is not how they're built this year. I've had that concern in years past. It's not this year. That's not the concern for me here with this team. The concern for me with winning the cup, or can you win the cup, is the actual mentality that goes into it. And truthfully, I can't answer that because I'm not in there. I don't know what's going on. It feels like from what we've seen of them over the past few seasons, if you're going to take that as a sample, or if you're going to take even how things have been kind of to start, then probably not. I don't know if they have that, but it's not to say that they can't add it or they can't develop that mentality, because I think that that's the final piece. It's not really even the team. You had an opportunity with teams that have been built in the past year to maybe not win the cup, but take steps beyond the first round, but we saw them lack the mentality. So that's the honest answer to that. I think that in terms of the team, in terms of what's happened here with Tree Living's ads, the way that he's constructed this, as Six had said there, like Tree Living showing his hand, you're seeing the way that this guy wants teams built. I think that you're probably fine from that standpoint. I think that those are more conducive to actually having playoff success. But are you going to take that next step mentality-wise? Super chat here. All right, super chat from Joe Hill. Thank you, Joe, for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Joe saying, nothing to add. Good win tonight. Yeah. Thank you, Joe, for the super chat. Greatly appreciate that. Yeah, I think it was a great win. I don't have any complaints about tonight. I think it was fine. Like I think it's a good game. I think there's just not too much to add. Denver, do you think they have the talent to win the cup? Yeah, I do. I think they have the talent to win the cup for sure. They have all the talent in the world. My only question is the mentality. Do you have the mentality to get over the hump and start taking it to the next level? Can you get to the conference final? Can you get to the Stanley Cup final? Like, can you break those levels? But yeah. Jacob M., you think Woll can start in a long playoff run? Is he adequate enough? I think he's a really good goaltender. The thing for me with goalies that I truthfully... Okay, so the thing with goalies that I think is that you need goaltenders in order to have success. You need goaltenders who are slightly above average in order to be able to win a Stanley Cup. But you can't just have a goaltender who plays slightly above average. You need a average to slightly above average goaltender who can get hot. Look at what Martin Jones is doing right now. He's probably an average to slightly above average goaltender who's hot right now. Can he get hot? Can he stay hot? Can he go on some run? Jordan Binnington, when he came up, reality is he's probably not the superstar goaltender that St. Louis paid him for after he won the Stanley Cup, but he's probably a pretty good goaltender who can go on some crazy run and get hot at the right time. Be a guy who can... I'm reading the chat. What is going on? He's probably a guy who just got hot at the right time. He came up after Christmas, went on that run, leads them to the Stanley Cup. Look at Adin Hill. Adin Hill is not some elite superstar goaltender, but he's a good goaltender, and then he got hot. Now, for the goalie situation, I think Martin Jones could be the guy who gets hot. He's had pretty good playoff numbers. He's had pretty good playoff performances with San Jose. I think he did well with LA. Like, he's had opportunities. He's being tested. He's being put into some of these positions. Yeah. I think either one of them could be it. The real concern when it comes to Joseph Woll is injuries. Can he stay healthy? Another super chat. All right, Joe. Appreciate the super chat again. Joe Hill with another super chat there. Joe says, actually, quick question. Do you think that Nicky Bobby needs more looks like he did tonight? Seems like he just needs a bit of confidence to get activated, and suddenly he's making plays. I don't know. Joe, the honest answer to that would be that it's a little bit of a tougher evaluation to say that, oh, he deserves more ice time because this is a game against San Jose. Like, I think he probably deserved to be in the game on Saturday, but as Jacob's saying there, like, yeah, he's making plays against the Sharks. Like, that's the thing where I'm sitting here looking at his performance and taking it with a grain of salt, basically saying, okay, yes, it's an NHL game, but that's not a very good team. You're going to be dominating them just by sheer performance of your own team here tonight. It's not that even that I'm not big on Nick Robertson. I'm fine with him. My beef with the Nick Robertson thing before was not even about him. It was about the team's handling of it, if that makes sense. Like, the team could never comfortably be like, oh, you're an NHL player, you're an AHL player, or you're a guy we could call up and down, like, you're close, you're not close. Like, they could never figure out, and he was always in between. And then it just felt like we kept sitting here watching Robertson's value get hurt over and over and over again because Dubas wanted him, Keefe didn't trust him, so then Dubas would bring him up, Keefe would sit him on the bench, Keefe would sit him in the press box, and he's not playing, and then he gets injured, then his value goes down, then he goes to the AHL and he lights it up, then he comes back, and then he doesn't play, and it's like, what the hell are we doing right now? Like, this makes no sense for the handling of the kid. This makes no sense for the handling of the asset. You're not going to be able to develop him into something if he continues to have that happen. And then on top of that, how are you supposed to trade the guy? Like, how are you supposed to get anything in return for him if you're just going to go up, down, up, down, up, down, and then every time he comes up, he's playing for 5-6 minutes a night, and then he goes to the press box? Like, I don't get that. I can't understand that handling. And the other thing, Joe, to your point, or to the point of that, would be, it almost feels like no matter what he does, like Keefe just doesn't trust him and won't put him out on the ice. And now I don't know if that's a matter of, oh, his line mates aren't necessarily defensively responsible, so Keefe doesn't want him out there because he also knows he's not defensively responsible and he just happens to be the kid, or what the situation is. But he's up, down, up, down, up, down. Keefe doesn't trust them. He finally goes in against San Jose. He looks good. I would honestly say that if he doesn't play in the next game, like, Keefe's a fucking moron. There's no reason that Pontus Holmberg, I mean, God, it's hard. Even Pontus Holmberg played a good game here tonight, so, and scored a pretty sick goal. So, like, maybe Bobby McMahon's the one who comes out and Noah Gregor goes back in if Noah Gregor is healthy. Like, if he's healthy, then probably should be the guy to go back. I don't know. The handling of it is very weird. In terms of the confidence thing, like, I'll be real, Joe. From what we've seen with this guy over the last little while, it feels like he's not really contributing that much when he's out there. Feels like, I said it before, like, it feels like he's kind of doing cardio when he's out there. Mind you, he's not playing that many minutes. He's not really playing that important situations, and Keefe doesn't seem to trust him. So maybe at the same time, we're just not getting to see of him what we should or could be seeing in a more developmental situation, right? I don't know. I think that's the best way that I can answer that one. I don't really know how else to kind of evaluate it. It's hard because it's like when he does play, it doesn't feel like he's doing too much, but then you also take away and be like, well, Keefe did play him for 6 minutes tonight, so, like, I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. There's a lot going on in the chat right now, so good opportunities to read some stuff and answer some questions. Joe saying, move him up to Nye's spot for a few games. No. That one I would 100% adamantly say no shot. Like, do not do that. Do not put him up there. Do not play him in that position. I would not be doing that at all. And it's not even necessarily because of Robertson. That is 110% because Matthew Knies deserves to be on that line. Maybe his points aren't where you'd think they'd be playing with guys who are putting up the points that they're putting, but his level of play, it's very similar to that of what we're saying with Bertuzzi, where you look at Bertuzzi and you're like, hey, the points aren't there, but he's really good. And his level of play and his impact has been really good. So no shot I'm putting him up on that top line. I just really, really, really wouldn't. I also just don't think he's as good of a player. I don't think he's as dominant as a player. I don't think he's as impactful of a player. And ultimately, the thing is, like, what do you find out? If you put him up on the first line and he plays better than he does when he's on the lower lines, like, are you really learning anything there? Or are you just kind of confirming the predetermined biases that you have, or not biases, but predetermined notions that you have, like, Matthews is very good, Mitch Marner is very good, like, no shit, Nick Robertson's probably going to look good alongside them. So I don't think it helps you with any evaluation from that point either. Jacob M. Do you have to sign Tavares when his contract expires for the team's purpose? And if so, what price? Price is really hard to gauge. I think the thing with the Tavares contract is we don't know what the salary cap's actually going to go up to. We don't know if they've won a cup by then or not. We don't know what the goalies will be. We don't, like, are there defensemen that were traded for? Do you need to re-up defensemen? How are you going to fit in? Like, some of it is also how are you going to fit into some of the other cap? Are there other players you've signed? Are there other players you've traded for? Like, whatever it's going to be. Are there other things that you have to evaluate where maybe now you can't get there to a certain number on Tavares? As for do you need to sign him? Probably not. But I think you do. I don't think he leaves. I don't see him leaving. Part of it is just like, this is pure speculation. There's nothing to this other than the fact that he left the Islanders to come to Toronto, and is hated for it. Now, that is kind of outweighed because Leafs fans love him so much. Leafs fans are so happy with him. Leafs fans are so thankful that he came here. Leafs fans are so thankful that he signed and the hometown kid came home or whatever. Maybe they don't like his contract now, but they're happy that he came back here. He's been point per game. Feels like he's going to continue to be point per game. I don't see how he decides he wants to leave. I think the only way is if the team does. And I think if the team does, it's going to kind of look bad in the eyes of fans, which is something they have to be concerned about. If JT, it's known that he's not looking for too much, and it's a number that fans can swallow, I think that the organization would be kind of in the wrong to be like, oh yeah, we're not going to re-sign you at that point in time. Now, who knows? Who knows? Part of it is just what's the cap going to be? Joe saying $3 million. I think no. I think it's higher than $3 million. JW at $4 million. RJW Rob at $6 million there. Realistically, to me, he probably comes in somewhere between 4 to 6, high 4, mid to high 4 to 6. I think he gets probably a couple of year deal here, and then he just goes out as a Leaf. He's gonna be 35 at that point. But Giordano's also here at 40. The thing with Tavares is the legs. It feels like he's going to fall off faster. Steven Beer, Zach, are you feeling confident in Jones right now or until he shows you against top-tier teams? Nope, I feel confident in him. Goalies is one of those things where I think good teams, bad teams, it doesn't matter. For the most part, the caliber of shots that you're going to face and stuff, especially it's kind of dependent on your team, but the caliber of your team that you're playing, to me, it doesn't really change too much of the evaluation of the goaltender. Obviously, he faces less workload here tonight and less workload on Saturday, but still, it's how he looked in there. He looked good. He looked calm. He looked comfortable. He looks poised, making a lot of saves. He looks pretty good. I think that from that standpoint, I think it's fine. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Martin Jones is the savior and he's leading them to the Stanley Cup, but I think you can pretty comfortably say he's playing really well, and you can, for the most part, trust that. You got to protect that asset. All right. Let's get to our play of the game. Play of the game. Let's get to it. Tonight's going to be a tough one for me, so I want to know what you guys have in the chat because I have a lot. There's probably some honorable mentions here that I have that I think probably are all worthy. I mean, the Matthews goal, that shot is so insane. The other thing, too, by the way, on that Matthews goal, that's something I watched them do in practice earlier in the year, and I sent it to Jason when I saw the video of it. That's what Arizona has been doing on their power play. Arizona has implemented that, and it seems to be working pretty well, where you go down to either the middle and then out and then back and then out, or you go down, out, back to the middle, back out again, where it has the goalie having to move because he has to react to you going side to side to side like that. When you have another body on the ice over the other team, it makes it much easier for your team to be able to pull that off and move the puck like that. So I think that that's a beautiful play. I think it's really well executed. Obviously, again, grain of salt here. It is San Jose. It's not that great of a penalty kill relative to what you'll play with other teams around the league, but it's a beautiful play. It's a beautiful setup. It's a beautiful shot. Also, before I continue on here, reading through some of these or listing off some of my own, thank you to everyone who liked the stream here tonight. We hit 50 likes on the stream. You guys know what that means. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Holmberg, one hand through the neutral zone, burn by the guy, get outside, strength, protect the puck, one-hand flip shot over Mackenzie Blackwood. I think that was who's in during that goal. No, that was the second goal of the second period. That was before Blackwood came in. But that flip shot, one hand, was it was just a great play all around in terms of the protection of the puck, the speed, the strength to get through there, to get by, to make that one-hand play, and then to be able to get it up in the air over the goaltender's pad with the backhand of one hand. I think that was a beautiful play. Now, another one that looked really good here tonight. I would have to go with the Morgan Riley slot goal. The shot, beautiful. Nick Robertson goal. Matthew Nyes snaps a 5-game pointless drought. Beautiful. Nick Robertson with a great shot there. Then the Marner deflection off to the side of the net. Great one there as well. Like, there was a lot of good stuff here tonight that I think that this Leafs team did. Simone Benoit, the hit, that was pretty nice. There was a lot. It's hard to be upset with tonight's game, truthfully. Yeah, I don't know. Play of the game for me is hard. I think all of those are deserving, and I think I'll probably lump all of them in. Normally I do one play of the game and then a bunch of honorable mentions. I think I'm going to give a group play of the game here tonight. I think that was pretty good from the Leafs team. I think there was a lot of highlight reel stuff. Marner's pass to McCabe sliding in as well, like a lot of stuff. All right. Let's get to our final segment here before we close this one off. Let's get to our grades of the game.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Grades of the game. Send yours in the chat. I want to see them as well. This is pretty easy for me. I'm not going to lie to you. Oh, actually, I debated it right as it came out of my mouth. Let's go with an A. I don't think I can get there on the A+. Let's go with an A. You let a goal against, I guess. I don't know. It didn't feel like the perfect, most overwhelming, dominant game, but it felt like a really, really good game. And it felt like one where they took it to them for pretty much the entire time. It felt like they didn't allow San Jose to jump back. It didn't feel like complete domination. And that's the only thing I disagree with on Steven. That's why I can't do the A+. But it felt like just a really solid game where you didn't let a shitty team come in here and bring you down to their level. I'm really impressed with the performance here tonight. Martin Jones, another solid game, only allows the one goal. You win 4 in a row here. You do cap off 3 straight against Anaheim, San Jose, San Jose. So now you're going to go into some tougher competition. But I think I'm pretty impressed with what I've seen over this last little while. I think they're playing pretty well. Super chat here. All right. Joe, thanks for the super chat. Joe says, off to the gym. Grade A for me. Go Leafs, go. I think that's fair. Enjoy the gym. Good luck out there. Hopefully you rip some pre-workout or something. Gets buzzing. Maybe get a little bit of tunnel vision going. But enjoy the gym. Thank you for the super chats. Thanks for participating tonight, Joe. Do appreciate that. And A, as Billy T says, they brought their A game. I think that's fair. Score a touchdown here tonight. Bring your A game. Pretty good game for the Leafs. That'll do it for tonight's post-game show, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in here. Thanks to everyone who waited for me to get live. I do appreciate all the support as well there. Look, another stream, another win. This Leafs team continues to roll. You go to 21-10-7 now on the season. That's 4-game win streak and 4 games against West Coast teams there. 3 of them on the West Coast, so pretty successful road trip. Come back and close this one off. Yeah, and as Curtis Joseph says there in the chat, Cujo, thank you, says they did what good teams do to bad teams. I think that's pretty fair. Thank you to everyone who tuned into the stream here tonight. Thanks to everyone who supported. Thanks to all the super chats. Thanks for all the likes, the new subscriptions. Appreciate that. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back here Thursday night after the Leafs game against the New York Islanders. Look forward to seeing everybody then. Until then, this has been game number 38. The Leafs winning this one 7-1 against the San Jose Sharks, moving to 21-10-7 on the season. See you guys on Thursday after the game. Until then, keep Leafing.